Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike, and you are watching and you are listening to the fifth episode of my new show, which is called The Rock Out Wild Show. But you already knew that. On this episode, I will look at and react to one of my old movie reviews, as well as look at the horoscope and look at today in movies and TV history, as well as today in music history. But you saw the title of this episode. This is an album review for a album, to me, is my favorite album of 2024. Now, here's the thing about this. When it comes to Caelestia by Skarlett Riot, this album, I have been waiting for this album since August of 2023 when they released their song Chemicals on YouTube. And 14 months later, it came out on October 25th, 2024. This album has 10 tracks, it's 38 minutes in length, and this is Skarlett Riot's fourth studio album. And like I said, I've been highly anticipating this. I was excited for this. I was ready for this. They released a few singles, and then it was just a waiting game, and they decided to announce when the album would drop. And right now, I'm going to review this thing. So, what do I think of this album overall? Well, this is easily my favorite album of 2024, hands down. This is a very sound-driven type of record. It's heavy, it's metal, it's melodic. It has incredible melodies that stand out that you remember. The guitars are heavy and carry the melodies throughout the record. The drums sound fantastic on the headphones when I listen to this. They are boomy and they pack a good punch. And I love the sound of the snare drum in this record. In some of the songs, the snare sounds fantastic in this. Even the bass guitar. The bass guitar gets its moments sprinkled in throughout each song in this record. And I do believe that not one aspect of the sound, when it comes to the drums, the bass, and guitars and everything else, nothing overshadows the other. They all have equal ground to walk on, and from that sound perspective, it's incredible. It's well produced, and the sound is consistent throughout each song, while each song adds a little something different. Not one song sounds the same, not one song feels the same. And that, to me, this one makes this album fantastic. Chloe Drinkwater, who is the singer of Skarlett Riot, her singing in this record is absolutely incredible. She could do no wrong, in my opinion. She sounds great. And this album has a great balance of not only her vocals, her cleans from Chloe, but also growls in this. And I like where they place the growls in the songs. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and they fit each song perfectly. And when it comes to the structure of this record, the song placement is damn near perfect. I could have switched a song like Hold Tight to be the opening song on this, but I'm not really complaining overall because Chemicals, being the first track on this, is a really good way to set the tone for what's to come on this album as it progresses. And when it closes, I get more than what I came for. It's really all about the songs that surprise you, that did not get the singles release, and they surprised me tremendously. And the album, and as the album comes to a close, it closes in the best way possible with Luminate. And as for my favorite songs on this record, it's damn near all of them. The ones I really want to give a shout out to are mainly the singles and a couple of one or two surprises. Chemicals, I love Chemicals. I love Lullaby. Hold Tight. Who Do You Think You Are? And Illuminate. Really, Who Do You Think You Are is one of the ones that didn't get the singles release, and that one really stands out to me. So overall, this album is just masterful. It's fantastic. It's explosive. It's heavy. It gave me this out of this world experience like I never had with any other album before. This, to me, is Skarlett Riot's best record to date. This is not only my favorite album of 2024, but this will go down as one of my favorite albums of this decade. And this decade is not even over yet. So, whatever comes in 2025 and beyond up until 2029, look out, because Caelestia by Skarlett Riot is nothing short of just absolutely amazing. I can't get enough of it. So that is my review for Caelestia by Skarlett Riot. Now, let's get into some other things on this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to start my camera. Hey, what is up, Ben? How's it going? Oh, just Mikers. I am just Mike, and you are watching episode 5 of the Rock Out Wild Show. Yeah, I already done the intro, but I wanted to do it again just to see just to experiment, just a little bit. I want to experiment a little bit. This is episode 5. This is Mumble number 5. Dun 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 dun. I know I've been a goofball, but yeah, you catch my drift. Anyway, let's get on to today in music history. So, I am going to present, share screen, and today in music. So, what happened today in music? Well, in 1963, Lionel Bart's musical Oliver, based on Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist and featuring a young Davy Jones, opens in Imperial Theater, New York City, and it runs for 774 performances, winning 3 Tony Awards. In 1964, the Rolling Stones. I think I think we all knew who the Rolling Stones are by now. They've been only around for 60 some odd years now, and they're still going. The Stones keep on rolling. Well, in 1964, the Stones' first tour of England as headline acts, the Ronettes and the Swinging Blue Jeans open up for them. In 1968, the Beatles' album Magical Mystery Tour goes number 1 and stays at number 1 for 8 straight weeks. And in 1971, Neil Young returns to his homeland of Canada for his first concert there since his pre-stardom days. So those are just some of the days on this day in music. Now let's take a look at today in movies and TV history. And these are really the ones that stood out to me. All right. Really, this one here I like. In 1957, Elvis Presley makes his 7th and final appearance on the Ed Sullivan again. Ed Sullivan Show. In 1958, WYPR TV Channel 6 in San Juan, Puerto Rico, PBS, began broadcasting. In 1963, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins begins on NBC. In 1967, Milton Bernie's show last airs on ABC TV, and in 1967, KHTV Channel 39 in Houston, Texas begins broadcasting. Now let's look at the horoscope of the day. And I am looking at which one am I looking at? Hang on. Okay, yeah, I got to figure out what today. Because as of today, I'm recording this. This is January the 6th, 2025. It's the new year, after all. And this will be aired on a later date. Probably somewhere around, I would say, the 29th of January. So even though this is January 6th, I'm recording this, I will look at both, actually. I will look at both horoscopes. So, again, like I said, I'm recording this on January 6th, 2025, and this will be aired on January 29th, 2025. So, I will look at both zodiac signs here for Capricorn and Aquarius. So, I'll start with Capricorn. For January 6th, 2025, no thanks. There may be some serious miscommunication today. Oh dear. Can't beat miscommunication. So be honest in all your dealings, Capricorn. Be as straightforward as possible, since issues can backfire if the truth is clouded. Honesty is invaluable. It must be maintained at all times. Absolutely. You have the power to make a lasting impression on people. Curb your tendency to snap at others. Watch out for accidents involving fire or metal. Yeah, accidents involving fire and metal. And we'll look at Aquarius, seeing that this will be aired on the 29th. And on January 6th, here it says, you may not be sure what to think today. Aquarius, mental confusion could be the day theme for you, but don't let it get you down. Realize that it's just one of these days when none of the pieces fit right. The truth is that they do fit somewhere, just not now. Lay low and wait for the phase to pass. Things will pick up soon as the fog lifts and you can see clearly again. On this day, you can see clearly. I know, I gotta stop with the music points. I can't help it. Anyway, right now, I'm going to stop the screen. And we're only about 13 minutes in. Why don't we do not one, but two reactions to two movie reviews for this episode 5? So not only I will react to one, but I will react to two past movie reviews that I have done over 10 years ago. And this is one of the features that I like to do as the main event almost on every show. Sometimes I like to mix it up. Maybe on the next episode, I'll switch it around and see if opening the show with something like this could do. But for this episode, we are going to close it. And I'm going to do two reactions. So you'll get double the fun here on episode 5 of The Rock on Wild Show. So I'm going to turn on the headphones and presents. Share screen. And make sure my audio's on. All right, so Trailer Park Boys Don't Legalize It movie review is up next. All right. I heard myself laughing, and I'm wondering why I'm laughing. All right. And we are going to react to this review right now. this is one of those movies where this could actually get away with being really stupid and be really funny all in the same time. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it has this certain cult following with us Canadians.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
a lot of Americans that want to see this movie may not be able to get to see this movie because it's not playing at the theater. And you know what? It's a shame, because I think this movie should be playing at every theater in the world. And with that being said, I love this movie. I love the comedy. I love the acting. You have Ricky, Jules, and Bubbles, and they're all on this journey, and they all have separate ones. You have Bubbles on this journey, who he's trying to find his new home and his new parents in Kingston. You have Jules, for some reason, is dealing with piss. And then you have Ricky, who has to go through this whole thing with not legalizing marijuana, and that's all well and good. I like movies that have adventure, uh, this journey type of aspect. When you put that all into a perspective with a comedy, it makes a really good storytelling kind of movie. And like I said, this has a cult following, and there's really not much you can say about this kind of movie. It is a low budgeted type of film. It's very, very short, so it's going to be a lot rushed. And like I said, this is one of those movies that can get away with a lot of things. Being rushed into developing the plot is one of those things as well, and they do a terrific job with it. The acting is really good from all the actors involved, especially John Dunsmore. And a best John Dunsmore is a drunk John Dunsmore.
Darn
I don't
right.
care what anyone else says.
Darn right.
He stole the show in this movie. The way he was acting, the way he would just go off his rail, pulling off his cord off the payphone, just the way he's acting, absolutely great. And I'm not going to spoil anything with this movie at all. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It is hilarious. There is a lot of funny moments in it. And I think if you want to compare this movie with the other two Trailer Park movies, to me, this is the funniest one of the three. And with that said, this is an easy 85 out of 100. And I'm putting this movie in a category of its own. This one is one of the best top Canadian movies I've seen, and probably will go down as one of those timeless comedy classics when it comes to the genre of comedies. And if you saw this movie, you can feel free to comment below and tell me what did you think about this. And you can also subscribe to this very YouTube channel to get McRocked.
All right. Yeah, Trailer Park Boys. Don't legalize a movie review. Not much to that. I like that my review is only 3.5 minutes long for that. I mean, a movie like that really doesn't need a long review. So we will go to. I will do one more reaction to another movie review from over 10 years ago. I will actually do one more, just to get a good length of an episode. And this reaction is for a movie called Brick Mansions. So I'm going to present, share screen, and full tab, and here we go.
Oh. What in the world did I just watch?
You watched the movie, Mike. You watched the movie.
So Brick Mansions is one of those movies where you can really pick apart this, dissect this, chew it out, spit it out, eat it up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's that bad. And I'll get too more into detail on this review. And this movie is about an undercover Detroit cop
who has to navigate a dangerous neighborhood that is surrounded by a containment wall with the help of an ex-con in order to bring down a crime lord and his plan to devastate the entire city. And that's pretty much all you need to know about Brick Mansions. That's it. That's all you need to know. God. I mean, this movie had nothing special while I was watching this movie. And it's a shame because this movie stars Paul Walker and this was not one of his best movies.
God rest his soul, man.
I think when I look back at his list of movies, the Fast and the Furious franchise is a standout, along with a couple of movies like Running Scared as well. I thought those were really good Paul Walker movies, but this one, what a way to go out, and it's a shame that he's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad about that. But I'm even more sad that this was one of his last movies that just didn't work for me at all. Um, One of the big reasons why this movie really didn't work, it's because of the amount of logic fails in the story. The beginning scene where he's inside this room full of drugs with this bad guy, and all of a sudden he decides to, you know, beep his watch, and then put the bad guy to him with the gun to his head, knowing that he's really outnumbered. And I'm like, dude, what's the point? Just wait for the SWAT team to come in and they'll take care of it. But no, he had to do the heroic kind of cliche crap and actually try to save the day, knowing that he was outnumbered. And here I'm thinking, why is he doing this? And there was another logic fail around about 30 minutes in where uh, one of the army bad guys says, "No, you know what? Make sure these two guys don't get killed. Paul Walker and his guy David Bell, who was with them in this scene." And this guy, this bad guy, this army guy is making sure, okay, you know what? Just don't kill these guys. They're important. A few seconds later, what happens? When they try to escape, they start shooting them. That didn't make a sense at all. Even the ending of this movie, and I thought I'd seen it all, but this ending was absolutely horrendous. I'm not going to spoil anything, but just wait until you watch this, and you'll know what I'm talking about. And when it comes to the action sequences in this movie, they're somewhat okay. I like the fighting scenes involving David Bell, and he's doing his own stunts, and I like it when someone is doing their own stunts in a movie
I don't believe for
because it
David
makes
Bellers,
it look
honestly.
very convincing while I'm watching it on screen. And with that being said, the action sequences, oh, terrible slow motion effects. And it's like right in the middle of a fight scene as well. It kind of took away from the fight scenes where, you know, so someone would like throw a fist in like slow motion. And then they speed up again. It just really took away from the fight scenes in this movie. And even there was one scene where the two chicks were fighting, and one girl had this chain and she started swinging it around. It was in slow motion. And there was another fight scene where the two of them, Paul Walker and David Bell, were fighting this really tall, big, imposing figure. And when they finally took him out with the brick on his head, they used the bird's effects while he's going down. Oh, cringeworthy to say the very least. It was just
Artifacts.
that horrendous. And I'm not done. The acting in this movie. And like I said, this wasn't Paul Walker's best movie, but he was the best actor in this movie. David Bell actually has some potential. Uh, I like to see a lot more of him as an actor, doing action movies like what Jason Statham is doing. And like I said, he's doing all of his stunts. And this movie is also a remake from a foreign movie called District B13, and he was involved in that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But this movie wasn't interesting enough. There was nothing special really happening. It had cliches written all over it. It was way too predictable. Oh my god, the story is horrendous. And Raza, of course, Raza the villain. And this is a guy that really I don't think should act. I think he should stick to
Oh, Raza,
what is he,
yeah,
a rapper or something, a hip
yeah,
hop artist? Just stick
yeah.
to that. He's just not he's not very convincing as an actor. A lot of it has to do with his voice. He almost sounds like Elmer Fudd.
Number four.
We're hunting rabbits. Or something like that. It kind of bothered me a little bit. And like I said, there were a lot of bad things. But like I said, there were also some interesting things, like Paul Walker being the only good actor, close to his guy David Bell. And I actually like some of the fight scenes, the two fight scenes that those two had with each other. I thought they were pretty good, but there were just fight scenes that I don't understand this director's style that's very glorified. A lot of unnecessary things are happening with the action. I can go on about the action over and over and over. But I'm just gonna save the time and end it right here and say that this movie is just complete garbage. And out of 100, ooh, probably a 31 out of 100 points.
Oh, damn.
I will say this though. It's a good stupid action movie for the first few minutes. The teaser was great, but there was nothing surprising happening. Nothing interesting really happened. I could see things coming from the storyline's perspective a million miles away. And I
Predictable in a
caution you
bad
to
way.
watch this movie if you want to see it. I caution you. And if you have seen this movie, what did you think? Feel free to comment below. And while you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button to get Mike McRocked.
Yeah, it's one thing to be a predictable movie, right? If it's done right. But if you see something coming from a million miles away, what does that say about your movie? I mean, come on. So, Brick Mansions, that was my reaction to that. Very forgettable movie. I really don't remember much from it. Um, so that's pretty much all for episode 5 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And I want to end it with a quote. It's a bit of a lengthy quote, but it's January 6th, 2025's perspective of the day. In its darkness, that we find the light within ourselves. As you practice kindness towards others, remember that you are a beacon of hope amidst shadows. Your light may not always be reflected back, but it shines all the same, illuminating the path for those who are lost. Stay true to your compassion nature, for the universe sees your goodness, even when others do not. Your kindness is a reflection of your inner strength, a mirror of your soul's beauty. Keep shining, for the world needs your light regardless of how it is received. And that is your perspective of the day. And this was episode 5 of the Rock Out Wild Show. I am your host, Just Mike, and on a final note to all of you watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.